Hello, my name is Amy Sturgis. This is for 730 EDRD, teaching reading and writing in the content area. Today I'm going to be interviewing Miss Tina Staub. Thank you for taking time to do this interview. If you wouldn't mind introducing yourself.
Okay. I'm Tina Staub. I am a third grade teacher at Valentine Elementary School. I teach gifted and talented students and have been teaching for about 16 years.
Okay. Um, so, in your personal time, what do you like to read and write for enjoyment?
I enjoy reading nonfiction. I also enjoy reading professional articles, things that might help me grow as a teacher. And as far as writing, I have always loved creative writing. Sadly, I'm so busy that I just really don't have time to do it. So writing now entails grocery list and making notes about my students throughout the day so that I know where to place my attention in my teaching when I'm working one-on-one or trying to develop my small groups with them.
Okay. And by what method do you read and write? Like social media, books, journaling, newspapers?
Okay. Personally or in the classroom?
Personally.
Okay, personally. Personally, of course, I read a lot of teacher magazines. I read a lot of fun magazines. I do a lot of online reading. I do online writing. I do like to blog, and my children fuss at me, but I love Facebook too. And I do a lot of writing in the classroom with my children.
Okay, and that's actually my next question. Do you implement any of these methods or media outlets into your classroom?
I do. We utilize Smartboard, a lot of South Carolina ETV. I'll show the children clips of things, and those are kind of leads for our writing. Or if I'm teaching a specific reading skill, such as comprehension, I may Google something for my students to watch to kind of inspire them to show other students modeling the skill that they will be actually doing themselves later that day.
Okay, thank you. Do you think that integrating literacy into all areas such as history, math, PE, art would be beneficial for students?
I do, and as a teacher, I try to do that myself. I find that it's almost like killing two birds with one stone. We read in all subject areas. In math, you have word problems, you just simple directions and a test to be able to read those and synthesize those so you know what you need to do on that test. So it's all integrated, and I feel like if you can make it organic, you can actually teach reading organically and just not in the reading classroom, that it happens easier for the children that way too.
What tools do you find most effective in your classroom as far as reading and writing are concerned?
Tools. Let's see. The number one tool I would say are books, papers, and pencils. I always tell my students readers are writers and writers are readers. You can't have one without the other. So I think to become a better writer, you also need to be a better reader. The more you read, the higher your vocabulary is. And also you see writing styles of different authors, and kids like to try those styles on. I see them in their writing journals sometimes almost copy, not word for word, but copy a style of an author, which I think is kind of neat too.
Okay. Are there any approaches that you have noticed that do not work?
I do. We have reluctant readers and reluctant writers every day and every year classroom that I've taught. I think the number one thing is the misconception of, okay, everybody, you have 30 minutes. I want you to write for 30 minutes about anything you want. That works for some kids who have who've read a lot, so they're able to generate good ideas. They have an upper level vocabulary that they're trying to show off. But then you have those children who have lower level vocabulary. Maybe their writing skills are not quite what they should be. Their spelling is weak and they're embarrassed and they don't want people to see that they can't spell. So naturally they're going to not want to write because that's proof that they're weak in an area. So I try to just encourage them to use invented spelling and tell them not to worry about what it looks like. If they need a little extra encouragement, lots of times I'll say turn and talk with your elbow partner about something that happened to you this weekend. I find if they can make a personal connection with what they're writing about, then it flows easier and it takes some of the stress off.
Okay. If a student is struggling with reading or writing, how do you approach that situation?
Well, there are a lot of different avenues there. If they are struggling with reading, I may pair them up with a reading buddy. I may give them something like a Tubaloo, which is a plastic, it looks like a little toy telephone that literally is the shape of this. And they whisper read into this end, and they're able to hear at their ears. So it doesn't disturb the class, but you're able to monitor and your own pace, your own fluency. I also have small handheld recorders that I'll have them read into, and then they go back and play and see what they sounded like and see if they can make any corrections. Again, they read to each other. I may have them read with somebody in the 5th grade. As I said, I teach 3rd grade, so I may have them buddy up with a 5th grader who will come and visit the class. I may put them in my lap to read. I may read a paragraph, have them read a paragraph, things like that.
Okay. What reading and writing strategies do the students seem to really enjoy?
They really enjoy whenever they can free write, whenever I don't give them a scripted topic. And I find that that's where I see their best writing, because these are things that are personal and important to the kids. So the little boys who may love football, I may get this great detailed writing piece about a football player. But if I ask the same little boy to please write me a story about, how rocks are formed or something, I may get 3 sentences out of it. So again, making that personal connection. I see also some of their better writing when they partner up. We call it buddy writing. When they get together and they share ideas and bounce off of each other, they can create this story or this writing piece that, it is a combination of 2 students, but they proofread the work. They say, well, I like that idea, but I respectfully disagree, which is something I use in my classroom a lot when they're doing collaborative learning activities. I respectfully disagree with you, or I like your idea. I think maybe if we add blah, blah, blah to it, but they're very intentional with their speech so that it does not hurt somebody's feelings if they disagree. So it's kind of fun to listen to them work it out. But I find the best writing, total best, is when they're collaborating with each other.
Do you mostly use technology such as a smartboard, or do you also use magazines, children's books, and newspapers in your classroom?
I use all of it. I use the smartboard on a daily basis in all subject areas. We visit the school library. We have Chromebooks in the classroom. We're not a one-to-one classroom, but I'm very excited. We just got 12. We did have 5, but now I have 12. Santa came and visited us. So they do a lot of research. They complete a lot of learning activities, play educational games that help stretch them as learners. We utilize the classroom library, just a plethora of things to help inspire them and grow them as readers, learners, and writers.
Do you use visuals such as pictures, diagrams, maps when integrating literacy in your classroom?
I do. I have a variety of maps, and you'd be surprised how often you pull a map down. It's incredible with social studies, or even in math if we're talking about. I'll discuss scale if we're talking about distance, and we can incorporate math with that. We use newspapers, I try to use everything around me, because in our world there's language and print all around us, and I want the children to learn to utilize everything around them to help them learn and grow, not just a book.
You mentioned that you take your classroom to the library.
Mhm.
What is that procedure like? Do y'all do activities or a computer, check out books?
We do. Our library is kind of a free-form type thing. I go online and just type in. I can see the schedule and see when it's open, and I can type in when I want my class to go. Once a week, we go for 15 to 20 minutes to check out books. And at present, I don't tell them the exact books to check out, but when I notice a child constantly checking out a nonfiction genre over and over and over, I will say, oh, I've noticed, Amy, that you are really, enjoying this nonfiction genre. I'd like for you to step outside of your comfort zone and let's go into some fiction and, let me help you. Tell me what you're interested in and let's kind of look around. So I try to get them to genre hop. But we do that, and then I try, doesn't always happen, but another half an hour a week, if I can work it in our schedule. Our media specialist is phenomenal, and she has lots of mini lessons. As a matter of fact, we've just completed one on nonfiction text features where the children focused in on learning to use captions, sidebars, cutaways, things like that. So they're able to use those terms and locate those types of nonfiction text features in the books that they're reading. So I feel like if they're able to use their textbooks and learn how to really use those textbooks, that their scores will improve on tests as well, because they're not just reading the paragraphs. Often kids will look at the pictures, the little sidebars, and they're like, oh, that's not in the paragraph, that's not important, and they won't even look at it. So getting them to identify what those are and the importance of why the author put that there. They're not just pretty pictures. Look at the script around it and learn from that.
What advice can you give me as a future PE teacher to integrate reading and writing literacy?
There are so many things that you could do, and I'm very excited to hear that physical education teachers with reading and writing, and when I think, excuse me, when I think of physical education teachers, I think of you teaching health and the importance of good nutrition and exercise and how that relates to us as learners too. If we're not healthy of mind and body, then we're not going to perform our best educationally. But I love to hear that, you want to incorporate these things. You could do things like, have the kids get together and write their own book on good nutrition. What does that look like? Have little characters in it, and maybe they could compare and contrast. Here's little Johnny, and little Johnny plays video games all day, and he doesn't get outside, he doesn't get fresh air, he doesn't get enough sunlight, and eats poorly. And then here's little Billy who, loves to be outside and breathing and this fresh air and eating healthy. So, you could do something like that. You could give them articles to read, just quick little, half-page, one-page articles about health, nutrition, exercise, maybe even like an Olympian. That would be enormous. Read about this downhill skier. And then after they do that, to say, I want you to highlight some important facts that you learned. So you're looking to see this reading skill. Are they able to pull out key facts? And then you can take it a step further and say, now I want you to write, give me a quick write for the next 10 minutes about something that you learned from this article. You could relate that to sports heroes, Olympians, just lots of different things.
That's great. Is there anything else you'd like to share about literacy in your classroom?
In my classroom, I really try. I believe that literacy is a living, breathing thing. It is. It's something that when you walk in, you should see a print-rich environment. You should see writing all over the classroom, student writing on display, anchor charts that we've gone over, books that the kids have created and published. And that's another thing. I have a basket in our library, and it is filled with nothing but student created books. And every time they read their classmate's book, they have to sign the inside front cover. And so the big deal is to try to write a book that's good enough, a bestseller. So the competition, of, well, 12 people have read my book. Well, only 3 have read mine. I wonder why that, wonder what I could have done to amp that book up to make it more interesting. Maybe I didn't include enough vivid language. Maybe I need to include some pictures in my next book. So it's sort of a growing and learning thing. But and then at the end of the year, they get to take their books home and keep them for the rest of their lives.
Great. Well, thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome. Yep.